welcome to another episode of Branding Blueprint. We're your hosts, Magnus and Now. And on this channel, as usual, we try to look at case studies of products and businesses, of their branding and product development and psychology, and see if we can learn from past mistakes and past successes to see what a business can do better to better their product and their personal brand for future use. Today we're going to look at quite an interesting aspect of branding. We're going to discuss personal branding.
Yes, I think it's something that's only recently gained prominence in South Africa especially. I'm not sure how it is in other countries really. But I know on LinkedIn there seems to be a lot more audio events and a lot more people posting about personal branding and the importance thereof. So yeah, we've got an interesting one to actually look at today. So we're going to talk about personal branding and relate it back to Lewis Capaldi, who is a UK singer-songwriter.
Yeah, I think he's a Scottish songwriter that gained prominence around 2017, 2016-ish.
Yes.
I'm quite a big fan of his personal brand, I must say. He's a very iconic figure. And that's exactly what we want to analyze today. Because personal branding is such an important topic. And like you said, it's recently gained a lot of traction. So perhaps you can take us through what is personal branding and why it's actually important.
So I think personal branding is basically when you create a brand for yourself and you can center that around your personality, your values, that sort of thing. I don't know if you want to maybe add something in there.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's very important because you need to differentiate, just like a business would differentiate themselves in a crowded marketplace. It's very important for an individual to differentiate themselves in a crowded marketplace, whether you are a creative, a graphic designer, a product manager, or even now, as we're going to talk today, a musician. It's always relevant. So
I can kind of attest that where I'm currently employed as a product manager, I know they did a background check on me on social media before they made the final offer. And that's exactly where personal branding comes in. Now for the general public, not for a famous singer like Lewis Capaldi, but even he's a very good example.
At the end of the day, even for a musician, you want people to choose your music, to listen to your music, because for them it's a competition to be that number one on the charts or whatever. But yes, businesses ultimately, they want to see who are they going to be working with, because an interview and a CV only goes so far. But if your personal brand is good, then...
He's a great example of some advice I got once to prepare for interviews for jobs. You want to make yourself memorable. You want to, at the end of the day, especially with singers and how congested the market is of all these singers, and if you relate it now back to job interviews of how many people they see in a day, and it's the same things, the same questions over and over again.
Yes.
At the end of the day, when people shut off, you want to be the person they remember. You want to be memorable some way or somehow.
Exactly.
And Lewis Capaldi does this very well.
Yes, he's very authentic. We've recently watched a few of his TikToks, and he's very funny.
He's very open about himself. He's very...
And I think that relates back to his music as well, because his music is very vulnerable, if I can put it in that way. It's very emotionally charged songs that he sings.
It is very emotionally charged.
And he's very open about his own anxiety, depression, Tourette's. It's not something that he hides. And I think his fans love him for that, because he is authentically himself all the time, whether it's when he's singing or off stage or on stage. While, he makes people laugh and people relate easily to him.
Like farting on stage. A very unique character. I love it. Definitely someone I would want to share a beer with. Very unique character.
And he's also, I think he was also very known, I don't know if he still does it, but the chunky black glasses, he would always wear those. And I think I don't want to say he got famous for that, but people knew him for that. If you saw the chunky black glasses, you thought Lewis Capaldi, which is like something which made him stand out. And relating that back to a personal brand, for example, if you're going to do posts on LinkedIn, what are you doing so that people, when people see those posts, they know it's you? You know, is it your color scheme? Is it your tone of voice?
Yeah, let us know in the comments, because even if you're not on social media, a personal brand happens. It's the outside world's perspective of you. So even if you're not posting things, the way you dress, the way you act, the way you talk, it's all part of your personal brand.
In fact, for Lewis Capaldi, for example, the way he dresses or whatever, even just that has gained him partnerships with like clothing brands and stuff to do their advertising.
Oh yes.
Because everyone already knows him, he's so iconic, so now they're utilizing him for their brand as well.
You know, also reminds me of that. Actually, don't know his name. It's that French guy that did all the videos. Boss signed him up for audio. Yeah.
Okay.
And he also got famous for doing all these live acts and then just showing the simpler version and being like.
And that was his thing.
That was his thing. That was his personal brand.
Of his personal brand that people knew him for.
And he got recognized for that. And
exactly. And that's the importance of having a personal brand. You know, standing out in that crowded marketplace.
So how do you guys stand out? Let us know a bit. Is there a unique thing you do to your outfit or the way you talk? What's your personal brand tick? But yeah, just also on the importance of personal branding, like one last thing on Lewis Capaldi. Do you feel his music, because it's very deep music, do you feel it contradicts his personal brand, which is very light-hearted for me?
Well, for me personally, like I said earlier, I don't think it does, because I think it relates back to the authenticity part. You know, his music is very emotionally charged. He sings about personal experiences. It is deep music. It is even he said himself, it's depressing in a way. But it's about his personal experiences, and even on stage, he doesn't hide the fact that he struggles with depression and anxiety. He shares that, and I think a lot of people value him for that and his music. But yes, he is very light-hearted. He does make jokes on stage, but it again relates back to that I'm being myself, I'm being authentic. I'm not hiding anything about myself for anyone.
So for anyone listening, that are being like, oh wow, personal branding, never heard of this is cool, I want to be known for something. What steps do you think they can take? And then obviously Lewis Capaldi is a singer, so and not all of us are going to go on TV and be interviewed for our amazing personalities. But on LinkedIn, I think the majority of people that would be watching this are professionals, or people that are working and want to climb a certain corporate ladder, perhaps. Unfortunately, we are all in the rat race. What can they do? What are the first beginning steps?
I think, if personally speaking, and just coming from my own profession as well, if you're unsure about like how to go about it, contact a professional that can assist you, that you can consult with. But just a few like tips and hints here and there. For me, I'm very into like color psychology. I love that, and choosing colors that represent you or what you want to talk about on LinkedIn. So for me, how I structure it for me and my clients is we choose imagery and color based on the topics that they will be discussing on LinkedIn, just because it links that, you know. And then it also helps them stand out, you know, so people are like, oh, when I see that sort of image or when I see that color, I think of that person. You know, they can spot your posts from a mile away. Or your tone of voice, I think, is also very important to set from the beginning, in how you approach topics, how you discuss them, the content that you share on LinkedIn. You can't have a humorous tone of voice in some of your posts and then suddenly you're taking on a different type of tone of voice, because now it's confusing people. What is your personal brand at the end of the day then?
Yeah, you have to be careful about clashes. It's like that old thing that psychology teaches us of, if someone wears things that contradict each other, like wearing a button shirt with a tie and shorts and flip-flops,
Exactly.
plakkies for the South African audience, wearing that, then you don't know where to place them. And
yes,
I think
it's confusing for other people, and especially if you want to stand out. Well, I mean, you could stand out for that as well, but I mean, that's dangerous grounds. That's just confusing to employers or followers. People want to know what they are following, and people do like consistency. Another thing is, sorry, if you're looking at brand archetypes, I love brand archetypes and encompassing that in sort of the style and the tone that you take on. So maybe you can find one that you really relate with, like the hero brand archetype, and then you structure your posts around that, and how you communicate, you structure around that.
For anyone not too familiar with brand archetypes, it's something new to me. That's actually something I was introduced to by now. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do a video about that. I think it's a very cool discussion. It's very interesting. Harley Davidson is the outlaw, for instance, and that's a very unique one for me because very big personal fan of Harley Davidson. Just nudge, nudge, wink, wink if anyone working there is watching this. But let us know in the comments and we'll make one. We will enjoy it. And if you enjoy this type of content and what we're trying to do here, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Thanks so much.